Hello and welcome to another training video on how to use the Maths Whiteboard site. I've got exactly the same setup as what I had in my previous video. I've got a student logged in Teams via the bigger screen, and I've also given them access to the Maths Whiteboard. So they have their own whiteboard that I can now see on my screen. So the iPad is now running as host, and as you can see here, I've got Matt. So as Matt is scribbling on his board, I get all of his scribbles appear on my iPad screen, which is great. Now, obviously, I want to, in my last video, I explained how to do a particular skill, and one of the things I now want to move over onto is a little bit of practice. So opening up the Maths Whiteboard in ClassShare and just scrolling down to find some questions that I'd like to do. We had an example that looked like this. We had a model it, so I went through a question on the left and then there was a question on the right. Now, obviously, once they've done one question, in order to make sure it's consolidated, I want to give them some further practice. So I'm going to select the Secure WB, which will give them 6 questions all on one screen for them to then have a go at. In order for me to be able to share this to their screen and their whiteboards, I'm going to simply select on the Share button and it will share, and there it is. Now, as soon as students start interacting with the questions on their screen, I get a nice update of it on my screen. So as students are completing these 6 questions, I can be perhaps pausing, changing what I'm doing, depending on what I can see from their whiteboards. If at any point, I've had this a couple of times in my lessons where I've wanted to pull up someone's whiteboard as a really good example, and then they've got all shy, and they have then tried to wipe all of their answers so that I can't then use it as an example. You'll notice here that there is an updating button on the class whiteboards. Selecting this will basically mean that the last snapshot that my iPad had of their screen then stays static. So even if a student decides to wipe their whiteboard, so in other words, get rid of all their working, the working still remains on my iPad, which means I've still then got their examples to refer to for everyone else to learn from. Hopefully this has been a fairly short but useful video. If you've been using the Maths Whiteboard site in a particularly different way, then please do leave it in the thread. I'll be really interested in knowing how you've made the most of it.